Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Mani Shresht from Haryana School of Business, GJ University of Science and Technology, Hisar. Today we are going to talk on the module Non-Verbal Communication from the paper Business Communication. First, let's go through the various learning objectives. The first learning objective is to know the relevance of non-verbal cues in communication, then to know about essential elements of non-verbal communication, and finally to understand about communicating effectively through non-verbal communication. A non-verbal communication is understood as any communication wherein no words are used to convey a message. A non-verbal communication accompanies a verbal communication, and it would be interesting to know that it constitutes major portion of the total communication. Non-verbal communication is generally unstructured and less intentional. That means it is less deliberate as compared to a verbal communication. Also, a non-verbal communication is more predictive of actual intentions of a person who is communicating, as it is difficult to control. Under the non-verbal communication, a person who is communicating is considered as the message. In a non-verbal communication, the actions can be interpreted to conclude a meaning out of it. Actions like eye movement, appearance, tone, time, space, or distance. Same action can have different meaning for different people. Culture also plays an important role in defining the nonverbal communication. With the nonverbal communication, the cues we can support, negate, replace, or highlight the verbal communication. Understanding of nonverbal communication helps in two ways. First, it helps in using the correct nonverbal cue to support the verbal communication, and second, it equips a person to interpret the correct interpretations of a speaker. In the simplest words, a nonverbal communication is a communication without the use of a language. There are many dimensions of nonverbal communications. These are kinesics or body language, paralinguistics or language of voice, proxemics or language of space, chronemics or language of time, other dimensions like touch, color, and smell. Now we come to the first dimension, that is kinesics. Kinesics means a study of body movements. While communicating, various parts of our body move. Every movement and way of movement of a body part provides certain cues to others. All our bodily movements are guided by the way we are thinking. For example, winking an eye, waving a hand, shrugging shoulders, etc. All are part of our body language. Movement of body part and their interpretation can be understood under the elements such as facial expression, gestures, posture, appearance, and eye contact. Under the facial expression, it is considered that face of a person is acting as a mirror of one's heart. Whatever we feel inside, willingly or unwillingly, reflected on our face. Every person is capable of generating several facial expressions depending upon the state of mind. These expressions include happiness, anger, sad, sorrow, bewilderment, disbelief, disgusted, and many more. These expressions are created by using lips, eyebrows, eyelids, cheeks, and eyes. Facial expressions provide feedback to the communicators. It is suggested to work on your facial expressions while communicating. Your facial expression must match with the words you are speaking. If you are communicating in a group and delivering a motivational speech, your facial expression must convey that you are energetic, enthusiastic, and happy to communicate with the group. A facial expression serves different purposes. It indicates whether the communicating parties are interested in the communication, level of involvement of each party, responses are original or fabricated. Let's consider some of the examples under facial expressions. Like yawning symbolizes boredom. So if we are delivering a lecture or talking to someone and the other person is yawning, you can easily make out that the person is getting disinterested in your communication. Similarly, twinkling eyes with smile indicate excitement and happiness. This can be easily observed in children while you are offering certain gifts to those children. While contracted eyebrows with red eyes indicate anger. Similarly, closed lips along with lower eyelids expresses sadness. As we can see from these examples, our face can actually talk. Eye contact. Eyes are the integral part of face and contributes to various facial expressions. For the purpose of understanding body language, eye movement is studied separately. It is generally suggested that during a face-to-face communication, eye contact has to be maintained. The reason for this suggestion is that eye contact conveys to the receiver that speaker is confident and knowledgeable. Just like facial expressions, eyes also convey the interest level of the listener. Through shifting an eye contact, a speaker can focus on different receiver. Eyes are also used to gain feedback. Also, a variation in eye movement conveys different meanings. Let's consider few examples under eye contact. If we are staring continuously to a person, it is considered as rude. That means continuous staring is communicating that you are rude in your eye contact. Too little eye contact shows less interest, insincerity, or you are dishonest. Also, lowered eyes indicate respect or regret. That means when we are respecting someone, we do not make eye contact, we lower our eyes. Similarly, when we have made certain mistakes, in regret, we also lower our eyes. A contracted eyeball conveys doubt or anger. Also, an expanded eyeball shows shock, amusement, or disbelief. Winking of an eye, it actually negates the argument which is made. Gestures. Whenever any body part is moved while communicating, it is considered as a gesture. The body parts could be hands, head, legs, feet, fingers, shoulders, etc. The gestures are used to support the verbal communication. These are sometimes used to give emphasis or highlight a point while communicating. Such gestures are known as illustrations. Appropriate usage of a gesture sometimes eliminates the requirement for a verbal communication. For example, if someone asks you the way to the market, and in reply you shrug your shoulders, the communication got completed. It means instead of saying I do not know the way to the market, you simply indicated no by simply shrugging your shoulders. It is the power of non-verbal communication. Every part of the body, when moved, might indicate some meaning to the receiver of the cue. Gestures can be used for different purposes, such as to specify, explain, point out, symbolize, and insist. It is important to understand that meaning of a gesture changes with the culture. Same gesture can have different meanings in two different cultures. For example, a V sign can symbolize victory in one culture and taking the opponent head on in other cultures. Also, it is important to develop a coordination of a gesture with the verbal communication. Let's have few examples for gestures and their meaning. If you are tapping your temple with finger like this, that means you are thinking or planning. If you are tapping your chin like this with the finger, that means you are making decision. If you are moving your head up and down like this, that shows you are agreeing or listening or understanding the communication. If you are having arms crossed on chest, that shows you are not interested in communication and closed for the communication. If you are shrugging your shoulders, that shows disinterest and you do not know the meaning. If you are putting your fingers in your mouth, that shows you are insecure. If you are fidgeting your fingers, that displays your anxiety and nervousness. After that, let's go to the posture. A posture means how you carry yourself. The way you stand, sit, or walk is a part of a posture. Standing with slouching body posture signifies tiredness or surrender. Similarly, sitting at the edge of a chair conveys that a person is uncomfortable or nervous or ready to go. Leaning forward while sitting indicates that you are eager to listen. Standing tall, sit alert and walk moderately to convey a good posture to the receiver. Appearance. It is related to the overall look of a person. It includes clothing, grooming, accessories, etc. Although it might seem unrelated to the body language, but it creates a first impression sometimes prior to other components of body language. For example, by looking at one's uniform, we can guess the profession of a person. Also, the kind of hairstyle explains the personality of a person. Keeping aside special occasions, generally it is suggested that one should follow a conservative style of dressing. Always keep in mind that your appearance must match to the occasion. Your dress should be neat and clean, properly ironed, hair well groomed, nail properly cut, footwear matching with the dress, along with the sober accessories. Your overall appearance depicts many things about your personality. It also indicates your attitude toward yourself, others, and life in general. The next dimension of nonverbal communication is paralinguistics. Paralinguistics or paralanguage means like language. It is the closest to the actual oral communication and always accompanies it. Basically, study of paralanguage focuses on how the content is delivered at the time of oral communication. All the voice-related aspects at the time of oral communication is the part of paralanguage. An effective usage of paralanguage provides different cues about the content and relevance of the content delivered by a speaker. Voice is an important aspect of verbal communication. Just by listening to someone, we are able to tell about the speaker like age, gender, education, place of brought up, and attitude. Generally, human carries a reasonable voice that works okay for most of the span. The purpose of a voice is to carry a message or meaning. Its purpose got defeated unless all the components of voice are working properly. Main components of a voice are quality of voice, speaking speed, pitch, volume, pause or silence, pronunciation, and non-fluencies. Let's discuss all these components of voice one by one. Quality of voice. Quality of voice refers to that feature which makes it unique when compared with others. We can easily observe around us that there are few voices which we termed as good or pleasant, while others we consider as unpleasant or harsh. Generally, we cannot do much about our quality of voice. We are gifted with a certain quality of voice. With some practice and training, some improvements can be made in one's qualities of voice. Voices can be classified as husky, harsh, shrill, nasal, soft, pleasant, etc. There are some professions which require a particular quality of voice. For example, commentators, radio jockeys, announcers, newsreaders, front office executives. A good voice is always considered as an asset and it adds up to the personality of a speaker. Another component of voice is pitch. A pitch is tone of sounds. A pitch brings variation in sound while speaking. Purpose of a pitch is to catch the attention of a listener. It can be monotone, high, or low. If the speaker brings no variation in the sound, while speaking it becomes monotone. Audience are less interested in listening to monotones. A variation can be created by putting stress on important words while speaking. A variation of sound during speech keeps the audience alert and interested in your conversation. Next component is speed. It denotes the speed at which you are speaking the words. A speaker has to control the speed of the words spoken. Generally, 120 to 150 words spoken per minute are acceptable to audience. If you are too slow, you would be termed as a dull speaker. On the other hand, if you are too fast, audience would fail to understand the content. We can also speak different parts of the message at different speed to highlight a specific piece of information. Then comes the volume. Volume refers to the power of sound. It decides whether the speaker is audible or not. A speaker needs to adjust their volume considering the size of audience, room size, noise level, availability of amplifiers, and venue. While speaking, we should be loud enough that everybody hears what we are communicating. More the number of audiences, louder should be the volume. Contrast is another strategy that sometimes speakers should adopt. A sudden lowering of volume also attracts the attention of the audience. Volume also signifies that the intended audience of the message. If spoken in lower volume, the message is meant for people who are close to the speaker. It also conveys the confidentiality of the matter. On the contrary, a loud volume dictates that the message is for everyone. Next component is pronunciation. It refers to the way we speak a letter or word or a sentence. A wrongly pronounced word can indicate a different meaning, resulting into misunderstanding. Culture is having a strong influence on the pronunciation. English is generally accepted as a global language, but influence of other languages can be easily observed when people from different countries or regions speak the same word. We can even get the idea about the native place of a speaker just by the manner a word is being pronounced. Training is required to neutralize the accent-related issues. The relevance of accent neutralization is more for multicultural organizations. Stop. Pause or silence is an important component of a paralanguage. Silence is a strong communicator and has a meaning. It might mean not understanding anything, waiting for more information to come, or you are simply spellbound. Pause is a gap between two spoken words or sentences. Duration and number of pauses has to be controlled to communicate effectively. A pause is used to attract attention of audience, control audience discussions, and pull applause. Another component of paralanguage is non-fluencies. These are the sounds and utterances that fill the gaps between two words or sentences. Sounds like okay, got it, etc. are considered as non-fluencies as they are used to fill the gaps between two words or sentences. Speakers are generally unaware of their non-fluencies. These are used by the speaker to breathe, think, or plan the next word or idea. It can attract the attention of the listener and breaks the monotony. Overuse of a non-fluency actually distracts and irritates the audience. Next dimension is proxemics. It is also known as language of space. The study of proxemics tells us how we communicate through space around us during a face-to-face interaction. For example, during a conversation between two people, it can be judged that whether they are at same level of hierarchy or the other way. Space is always relative to a speaker. Its understanding moves from intimate to public space. Adequate space provides freedom to move body parts and convey a message through body language. Regarding that, major credit for conducting remarkable space-related studies goes to E.T. Hall. He has given classification of space to improve its understanding in communication. As per the classification provided by Hall, space can be divided into 4 zones, namely intimate zone, personal zone, social zone, and public zone. An intimate zone includes a radius of 0 to 1.5 feet around us. A 0 means physical touch. This space is used when we embrace, touch, or whisper. Only people very close to us are allowed to enter this zone. Generally, these people include our relatives. Personal zone. It includes a radius of 1.5 to 4 feet around us. This space is used when we shake hands at about arm's length. Generally, our friends and close associates fall into this category. Social zone. It extends from 4 feet to 10 feet of distance. This space is being used for formal purposes and generally for the relationships that are more professional. Our colleagues from the organization, customers, suppliers, and others that create our professional surrounding are the part of social zone. In our social zone, people are known to us and we share some commonness with them. And finally, public zone. Any distance beyond 10 feet creates a public zone for us. Generally, it is used when we are addressing public. In a public zone, people unknown to us can be the part. Relatively, in public zone, a speaker is detached with the audience in terms of accessibility. The next dimension is chronemics. It is also referred as the language of time. Whether time is money or not, it has to be decided after an understanding of language of time. A weightage given to time varies from culture to culture. Understanding relevance of time in culture might help you in business dealings. For example, in Europe, the committed time is exact time and any delay is not well taken. While countries like India, committed time is having flexibility and delay of few minutes is acceptable. Understanding of time language has a direct impact on the importance of punctuality in a given culture. Also, language of time tells about what is early or delay in relation to an action. Apart from the dimensions discussed so far, there exist few more dimensions under non-verbal communication. These dimensions are related to language of colors, smell, and touch. Studies have proved that colors are associated with different behavior patterns and cultural backgrounds. Every color has a meaning associated with it. For example, red is treated as energetic while blue is considered as vibrant. Display of specific color along with the verbal communication can enhance the effectiveness of a message. Just like colors, smell also communicates about the personality of a speaker. The kind of fragrance a person is wearing tells about the attitude and individuality. Fragrances can be classified as strong or soothing. Touch is another dimension of non-verbal communication that is capable of creating bonding effect. In a business setting, most common touch-related behaviors are handshakes and pats. The way a person handshakes conveys his personality. Some people apply too much or too less force while shaking hands. Both are incorrect. We have to apply an appropriate force that should not hurt but still displays our warmth. A gentle pat on the shoulder by your senior conveys appreciation and sufficient enough to motivate you. So students, let's now summarize what we have learned in this module. Any communication wherein no words are used to convey a message is known as non-verbal communication. Body language is the most observable aspect of communication. It is unstructured and less intentional. Non-verbal cues are believed to be generated as unplanned and accidental actions. The actions can be in the form of eye movement, appearance, tone, time, space, or distance. With a non-verbal cue, we can support, negate, replace or highlight the verbal communication. Dimensions of non-verbal communications are kinesics or body language, paralinguistics or language of voice, proxemics or language of space, chronemics or language of time, and other dimensions like touch, color, and smell. Interpretation of non-verbal communication varies with culture.